Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a slightly different video and I had to debate with myself quite a long time whether to cover this at all or not. But the exact reason why I argumented myself against it was actually the reason why I decided to do it. Because this is controversial, because there is nothing I can say that's going to please everybody. But I do believe that there is some sort of middle ground, some reason to be had. Before we get to the Trucos situation, I also want to address, obviously, the complete opposing people, who obviously, from the very beginning of MCOC Kabam announcing this Pride event, just were posting irrational, stupid crap. And, that is just as bad, in my opinion, as people on the complete other side. This entire situation reminded me of the Family Guy episode where Brian sent stupid tweet and then entire town turned on them. And then specifically Chris and Meg went to school cafeteria and they were basically denied seating there. And at which Meg replied it was just a joke, and a high schooler from the opposing group effectively said, there are no such things as jokes anymore. We live in a post-joke world. And that is kind of where we're at. It's kind of frightening that, a parody cartoon is where we quite literally live these days, where everybody is trying to force their views on everybody else. And it's just insane if you stop and think about the fact that in no other aspect of our lives, in virtually no other environment on this planet right now, that is not acceptable. That is not normal human behavior. For thousands of years, in my mind, humans had kind of learned how to get along with other people who don't believe the same things. If you extend this type of interaction that we are seeing on Twitter and about this particular subject to, I don't know, religion or sports team fan clubs or anything else, then, it would be a disgusting and frightening result of everybody just effectively having to fight every single human being who doesn't believe exactly what the things that you believe in. And we kind of had moved past that. And again, half, I'm not going to say half, I will say that billions of people live in much more different countries and environments than, what typical Twitter person kind of has gotten used to. Very different from this entire internet culture. And that by definition means that billions of people hold opposing views to each other, without a doubt. If we take a look at all the countries where certain types of marriages are outruled or where there are much, much more strict laws on public decency, every single one of those people, by internet standards, would be despicable. And their despicable, phobic, or ist nature, in reality, would just come from the circumstances they were grown or raised into. I come from a small country that, by today's standards, is very conservative. When I was growing up, being called a homosexual was effectively one of the worst things you could be called. Like, if there was a rumor like that getting around the town, you were sure as hell gonna get your beating coming to you in the next party or something. And that obviously is wrong. And as I grew up, I kind of understood that. I adopted a worldview of, you do you, whatever makes you happy. I'm gonna do whatever makes me happy. And as long as you do not try to intervene in my life, as long as you do not try to compel me to believe the things that I don't believe, I'm okay with you. I don't care where you go to church. I don't care what you do with whoever you want to do it, as long as you're not trying to force those things upon me. And that is how largely I conduct my life. And that is also, honestly, my recommendation for most people around the world. A good example would be another MCOC YouTuber who recently came out as trans. Now, I will unequivocally say I do believe that there are two genders. I do not believe in real-life magic of changing your gene structure. At the same time, I believe that he can believe whatever he wants. I believe that every single person deserves to be happy. I left a nice comment to him saying that, whatever makes him happiest, do that. Don't listen to anybody else. I do not have to believe the same things as the person in question to support him or to be friends with that person. And that is genuinely how I feel. As long as there's nobody trying to jump on my head and telling, this is what, I don't know, new science is, or this is what new facts are, and this is how you will view the world, I'm probably going to be okay with you. Now, it's a different thing that, maybe 10 years down the line, I will think differently. But I will come to those conclusions myself, not with some sort of forced intervention. And that is what I recommend to other people as well. Everybody who is pro Pride Month always teaches tolerance, but they themselves typically have very little tolerance to dissenting views. Likewise to the people who dislike these type of things. They see something evil in everything that they do not support. When in reality, why? As long as it makes them happy, as long as it makes the targeted groups happy, let them do it. Obviously, there are common sense reason and, taking things too far. But having some, pictures, holding hands, stuff like that, really, is that the biggest thing in your world to worry about? Is that the hill you're going to die on? Is that the best way how to expend your energy declaring your dislike about certain things online? I still personally believe that you do more good in the world by going outside, being nice to your neighbor, and spending half an hour having, I don't know, a beer or a chat with your neighbor, than you do spending a week online, posting some sort of, shaming people online or something like that. Whichever way you hold yourself. Anyways, that being said, let's address the Trucos situation. Because, actually, and this is going to be full disclosure, I have made some stupid jokes in the past. I know it's a shocker. I'm a human. I can have bad takes, and I have made some stupid jokes in the past as well. Now, the joke that I made was about 2 to 3 years ago, and there was legitimately a group of people trying to quote-unquote cancel me as well. They were making these posters about how I'm a phobe and how I hate everybody, and they were having the furthest reaches. Just so you guys can understand the context of that, it was a joke about Omega Red playstyle. And on another streamer's chat, I typed in Omega Red's playstyle comes straight from Russian Grinder or something like that. Because Omega Red effectively all the time needs to be close to opponent to maintain the sport and stuff like that. And it's not the best joke, shitty joke. Possibly shouldn't have made it. Now, do I think that anything and everything I have done since or after that should be invalidated by one stupid joke? No. Do I think that the backlash Trucos received about 2 bad jokes in this case is fine? No. I do think that people were overacting. Now, in the situation of Trucos, as we can read his tweets, there are clearly more things going on in his life, and that is always the case with all of us. What I want people to understand, because obviously, thanks to a certain Canadian wonder kid, person of the year, I know exactly how it feels to be on the other end of somebody trying to smear and online bully you for years. And on the good days, when people go after you online, it doesn't matter to most people. It didn't to me. Like, that person used to make videos about me, I don't know, every week. And if my personal life was in order, if my finances was in order, if my health was fine, if I felt all right, if my rest of my channel was doing fine, I really didn't care. The problem is when there is a kink in your armor. The problem is when there are more than 2 or 3 things compiling at the same time. Maybe you have sustained some minor injury and you're in physical pain. Maybe you have gotten in an argument with your parents or partner. Maybe there is problem at work. And that is when this online oversaturation gets through your armor. That's when it exploits the chip in your armor and it actually gets to you, and it really can do massive damage. And now I'm not saying that, what Trucos did was awesome or the best joke in the world or anything like that. What I'm saying it, in my opinion, is quite insane to the reaction that it received. But then I remember that we live in a post-joke world, which is exactly why I myself have largely kind of distanced myself on joking about sensitive subjects in general, even though I do think it should be perfectly normal. It's kind of shameful to admit that I have been beaten into a submission. I do not feel like I can say the things that I think online, even if I see ethically nothing wrong with them. Even if I think that, well, it's time for it's just because I know that somebody can take it out of the context. Somebody will put some sort of false motivation behind it or false viewpoint and it's going to spin it. And that is very bad. In case of Trucos, obviously, he clearly keeps saying here that he has financial returns. Maybe he will return, maybe he will not. But it is 100% clear that the recent situation with the joke that he posted about homosexual bugs being added instead of different type of bugs, it was the final straw that broke him. And here is how my rational mind approaches it. You might have hated that joke. You might dislike the person that made that joke. But you don't have to like the person to coexist with them. You don't have to like the person to find them valuable or important. The end situation of this is very simple. Dude made a joke that a lot of people did not like at all. Then a lot of people assumed the worst malicious intent to those jokes and attacked him online for that. The end situation is it. Trucos page is not going to be maintained. A lot of people are not going to get their arena cutoffs. A lot of people are not going to get their event infographics and whatever else that everybody got the benefit from for years. It's a very similar situation, let's say, to what I have had in high school. There were some teachers I really, really, really didn't like. Some teachers who really didn't like me. They were consistently singling me out and giving me worse grades, and they genuinely didn't like me. Now, I didn't like them in return, but it didn't make what they said untrue. It didn't make the things that they taught me useless. Just because you like or dislike somebody or disagree with something does not mean that there is no value in anything they have ever said or ever done. And that is today the conflation that people are insisting that we interact with each other as a total sum of everything who we are, rather than objectively taking or listening to the things that we agree with and distancing self from other stuff there. We are forcing every bit of your history, baggage, personality, every bad joke you made on each other all the time. And as soon as there is some sort of discrepancy, then the person is to be discarded. It's just a fairly sad state of affairs. Either way, I wasn't overly close with Trucos. Still wish him all the best in life. I hope his personal situation improves. And as a final closing thought, let me make this very, very clear. I personally think people need to be, one, less on the edge, less sensitive about this subject. Not everybody always thinks the worst when they say something that perhaps they should, perhaps they shouldn't. I'll leave that debate out there. But having this complete radical mindset of, none of that is acceptable, none of this is acceptable, on either side where you land, is not going to help anybody in the world. If you dislike Pride event that much, fine. play it or don't play it. You don't need to go and attack everything and anything that has to do with Pride event. If you love Pride event that much, fine, love it, enjoy it, celebrate it. You don't have to attack anything and everyone who doesn't. We're all different, we're raised different, under different circumstances, we believe in different things. Do not try to force compliance maliciously and aggressively on everybody around you. We're each our own humans, we have each our own brains. Just because some people believe something right now doesn't mean that they're going to spend the rest of their life believing it. But trust me, if you're going to be aggressive and villainize the other side, they're much less likely to ever join you and support you. So that is where I'm going to finish this video. Be a bit more kind, understanding, patient with each other. Again, some of the things that I said in this video, I might disagree with in 10 years. But when somebody is going to attack me for the things that I said in this video, rather than try and discuss them, I'm just going to fight back. I'm much less likely ever to kind of like confirm to whatever they're trying to force on me. And that is true for pretty much every single one of us, I think. So here we are. Just be cooler, just be nicer. Can we chill the fuck out a bit? The people who want to celebrate something, let them. People who don't want to, don't. Nobody's making you. Simple as that. Just chill the fuck out. Be nicer to each other. World isn't gonna end in the June, or your world isn't gonna magically alter either way, no matter how you feel. July is gonna come, and then the next current thing is gonna be there. Somebody's gonna support it, somebody isn't. Anyways, that's what I think. And as for Trucos, well, I do hope we see him back. My personal opinion hasn't changed about him. Made a shitty joke, we all do. Anyways, see you later. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next month